Welcome back to another installment on this episode of the Purple Rain podcast. Yes. Welcome back to episode 327 of the Purple Rain podcast, the J.K. Dobbins episode, Darius Williams, Ray Rice, Cyrus Jones, Asa Jackson, and most recently, TJ Tampa episode of the Purple Rain podcast. Thank you for spending your Monday evening, Tuesday evening, Tuesday
Yeah.
evening. So you're saying Monday, Tuesday evening here with the Purple Rain podcast. Have a lot to talk about. Ravens football to talk about, NFL news, starting quarterbacks around the league, UFC, all that to talk about on this episode of the Purple Rain podcast. But once again, thank you for spending your Tuesday evening with us. You follow us on Instagram at the Purple Rain podcast. This guy of me on Instagram or on X at Sutton Death. Me, Instagram, simply as10.prod, X, simply as10, and most importantly, our sponsor, Manscaped. Right on me, go on there, use code PRP for 20% off your whole order and free national shipping. The best deal on the internet. But Sutton, it is Tuesday. How are we feeling? Ravens football. We got one more game left until the real deal. I know that's exciting, but how are you feeling?
Feeling good, man. Feeling good. We are getting closer and closer to the moment. And by the moment, I mean the get back game, September 7th, Orchard Park against the Buffalo Bills. I can't wait. I can hardly wait any longer. You told me before we went on air just now that you fell asleep during the last preseason game. And look, I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at that at all because I know like me and a bunch of other football fans, yourself included, we're tired of the preseason. As fun as preseason can be, right? Like initially, we're ready for some actual real regular season action. So like the fact that we're so close to it, man, it's got me hype. It's got me hype. It's got me excited. But like you said, man, we've got a lot to talk about here on this episode. We've got, of course, the Dallas Cowboys game to review. We've got training camp news that happened just today. That new stuff is coming out of camp. Harbaugh announced and made official the offensive line. He made official that, starters aren't going to play in the third preseason game. We've got Daniel Jones over Anthony Richardson to talk about. We've got UFC 319 to recap. So lots of stuff to get into on this episode 327 of the Purple Rain podcast. But we would be remiss. We would be remiss if we did not bring up who's here in the live chat here today. Let's see what we got in here. We got Dreski. What's going on, Dre, in the house?
What up?
That's my guy. ISO was in the house as well. I see D-Wiz in the chat. What's going on, D-Wiz? Lisa Ann, always showing up, always showing support. Says she's feeling the Super Bowl 60 victory for Ravens Nation. Man, listen, man. Lisa's always got the lofty expectations, and we love it. And there's a long way to go, for sure. But appreciate you for coming through, Lisa. We got a member in the house. We got Tila M, a Purple Rain patron. We love to see you here, Tila. Appreciate you for coming through. Shout out to all of our members. We got Chris M, who's another member of the Purple Rain podcast patron group, is also in here. What's going on, Chris M? Thank you so much for coming through, always supporting. Let me see who else we got in here. We got Mod K-Dog, that is to you. Says, yo, Rain Gang family, what is good on this weird Tuesday stream? So didn't go live yesterday. Yesterday was my lady's birthday, so I wanted to spend some time with her, things like that. Everything went well. Got a couple of birthday wishes for her on the other episode of the show that I did a couple of days ago. So thank you guys for that. But we are back here on Tuesday because we got some things that we need to get into. But before we do, let me go ahead and keep seeing who's here in the live chat. Christina Geary is in the house. What's going on, Christina? Appreciate you for coming through. I think you might be a first time watcher. I haven't seen that name in here before, but we love to see the new faces. Guys, listen, make sure if you're watching on YouTube right now, please take 3 seconds out, maybe 2 seconds, probably even 1 second to just like the video, right? Just like the video. Subscribe to the channel as well. Helps us out a whole bunch, especially going into this 2025 NFL season. We want to make sure we have as many people in here as possible because it's going to be, once the season gets rolling, guys, man, you guys already know how we do here at the Purple Rain podcast. 2 streams a week minimum, right? previewing games, reviewing games. We got shorts coming out throughout the week. You're not going to want to miss it. So make sure you stay
Purple Rain
subscribed.
parlays,
The
Purple
Purple
Rain
Rain
picks,
parlays. Oh, the
fantasy
segments.
advice. I mean, it's
Yes.
all for free too, by the way. It's not like
Yeah.
we're charging like a Discord. No, it's just for fun. I think
It's
we
for
give pretty
fun.
good advice most of the time. But you mentioned football as well. And I
Yeah.
feel like I have to say, as I'm wearing a college hat, we have college football starting soon. And I am once again very excited for the college football season. I don't know why. I think it's gonna be a really good year. Um, Last year was really nice. I know we don't have like the Shedeur and the Colorado, but we are gonna have a good college football year as well. So I'm looking forward to that. I don't know about you. I know you watched a little bit of college football last year, but this year, man, I'm really pumped for it.
Yeah, so it's interesting you say that because I've been thinking about it recently. Normally I wouldn't watch a whole lot of college football. It's just not really my thing. But since recently moving to Texas, and for those of you guys who don't know, I do live in Houston. Um, I think I'm gonna start cheering for Texas. I like the whole Arch Manning
Horns up.
story.
Okay.
Yeah, I like the whole Arch Manning story and all that. So I think I'm gonna follow that. And I know they play Ohio State to open the season with. And I'm not exactly sure when is that game?
I think in like 2 weeks, but I will tell you this right now: Texas money line. Right now,
Mm,
don't think about it. Ohio State starting like a redshirt freshman at quarterback. He's gonna get spooked. Give me Arch. I'm a big Arch guy. I like what he brings to the table. I think he'll be the number one pick next year. Horns up for that one. I think they're gonna win
yeah.
it.
And you know what's interesting about that is because actually right before we went on live today, I was on Twitter and I saw this video that surfaced about Archie Manning, and he was talking at a press conference, and he was basically saying in so many words, like, I don't know who said, I don't know why my grandfather said that I'm going to stay in college for another 2 years, basically alluding to the fact that after this season, Arch Manning could be declaring for the NFL draft, and it could be, you know, like about a year from now, a little bit less, we're going to be seeing a whole bunch of news about Archie Manning coming to the NFL, and I'm excited for that. Don says Archie is overrated. You see it in the chat right there. But
Hey,
what are your thoughts?
early prediction. He's gonna fulfill his granddaddy's legacy. He'll be the Saints quarterback. I think when he goes to the pros, I think he'll go to the New
Mm,
Orleans Saints.
yeah, yeah. Let me see. Brandon Clark in the house says, "Dope. I'm in Houston too. I'm in the Heights. Let's link and watch some Ravens games." Sutton.
Hell yeah.
I would not be opposed to that. Would not be opposed to that at all. Maybe reach out to me. Shoot me a DM on Twitter or Instagram. We can link. We can link. Um, but yeah, let's see. Okay, so you know, I don't want to say too much on Archie Manning, but because we'll get into this a little bit later, but I have a feeling that he might end up being a Colt. If anything
Mm,
else, kind of following in
mm.
Peyton's footsteps, and
Oh,
I think that would be super freaking cool, storyline wise. So we'll see what happens with that. But
yeah.
listen, guys, we're not here to talk about college
No.
football right now. We're not here to talk about Archie Manning, Texas. None of that. We're here to talk about some Ravens football. It's been a minute since me and my guy Alex talked, and I want to get his reaction and his biggest takeaways from the Ravens versus Cowboys game that happened this past Saturday. I went live talking about it a little bit. Some things that I liked, some things that I didn't like. But Alex, I want to come to you on this one. What were your biggest and most main takeaways from the Ravens beating up on the Cowboys 31-13 last Saturday?
Take this with a grain of salt. Uh, Zach Orr has that defense playing fast, physical, and relentless. He wasn't coaching scared. I think all the guys had their assignments down. Like that opening safety that really set the tone for the defense. I think there was a big tackle in the backfield, right before the safety. Like this defense, I think really bought into Zach Orr. And this could be his last year with us as defensive coordinator if he puts together what he did the second half of last year. I think that's definitely a real possibility. So I'm kind of going to enjoy what we have here now. But I love the way they were playing. They were locking guys up. Joe Milton had the one bomb to Jonathan Mingo, which I think got him hurt. That was like the only real big play that I can remember. But outside of that, I like the way they played. That undrafted DB with the safety, I think he's made a really good case to make the team. I see people talking about Jay Higgins as well to make the team. Guys like that making a name for themselves in preseason, kind of what it's all about. Don't expect them to get major time on the defense, which I don't want because that means something bad happened with our guys. But special teams wise, really good to see, and go to show we have a player that can come in maybe
Looks like Alex might have dropped out of the stream really quick. Maybe some technical difficulties. I'm sure he'll be right back. Let me know if you guys can still hear me here. Quoney says, was it a freeze? It looked like a freeze on my end. Alex had just completely froze and now he's gone. So maybe it was just like a timeout. It was probably a browser thing, to be honest with you. He'll probably be right back. But yeah, I mean, he was just talking about a lot of guys who, made some big plays, who stepped up in that game. Some guys who were on the bubble, right? Who we were expecting to maybe, uh, you know, either make or break their case to make the team, and Jay Higgins was definitely one of those guys inside linebacker. And that's a position where, you know, I have really had a very close eye on because I am not completely sold on the tandem of Roquan Smith and Trenton Simpson being the starting linebacker, inside linebackers for this team. Of course, we love Roquan Smith. Do think that he could maybe be a little bit more impactful, especially in big moments. We'll love to see him flying around and making some big hits and having some big moments, but at the same time, and I can't wait till Alex gets back in here because I want to talk about Teddy Buchanan. I want to talk about Teddy Buchanan because that guy right there, he looks like he could definitely challenge. He could totally challenge Trenton Simpson for that spot. You back?
So I got taken to the gulag there. Kick me off the internet. Sorry
All
about
good,
that.
all good, all
We're
good.
good. So what stopped? Where did I freeze at?
So you froze up around. You were talking about some of the fringe guys, the bubble guys. You talked about Jay Higgins, and I kind of
Yeah.
made it. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, I mean, it's good seeing guys like that make names for themselves here. Not like they're gonna be staples, but special teams wise, what could happen later in the year. Could maybe have a big play on a kickoff, cause a fumble, stuff like that's good to see. And it's good to see maybe we have to throw them in. If somebody goes down for a series, it's good to have them there. So I mean, for me, all positives, no negatives. I think on that game, to be honest.
Yeah, definitely some good positives, some bright spots out of there. We got Marlon Day in the house. Says, "What's up, fellas? Yo, Simply AS10. Your music videos are fire." Yeah, man.
Thank,
Yeah,
thank
man.
you, thank you, thank you.
Absolutely. Make sure you guys go ahead and subscribe to Simply AS10 on YouTube as well, because listen, this is a guy who puts out a lot of content during the NFL season, and you're
Yes.
not going to want to miss any of that. And I would personally recommend it. I know I've said this all the time. Follow him on TikTok as well because he's got some great content there too. Some
Yes.
really good like golden nugget type content, stuff
Mm,
that you just don't really find anywhere else. I'll be randomly
yes.
scrolling on my Twitter, not Twitter, but on my TikTok, and I'll see a Simply AS10 video of some mic'd up. And again, I know I always talk about this, but I'm not going to stop talking about it because I love the content so much. Um, but yeah, it'll be like some random mic'd up clip from some random team. Sometimes it's the Ravens, sometimes it's not. But it's really good content. It's very insightful. You kind of get to learn some of the players and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I appreciate your work there, Alex.
Thank you,
But
thank you, thank you.
let me see what else you guys got in the chat. Who do you think will make this team besides LeJontay Wester? Says
Ooh,
Lisa Ann. I was talking about Teddy Buchanan when it comes
ooh,
to the
yes.
linebacker group, and he looked really good. You mentioned a tackle for loss. I think that was Teddy Buchanan. It was a
Okay.
screenplay. And Dallas were, they were inside their own 20. And Teddy Buchanan, he just reads it effortlessly and he bursts through the line of, the line of scrimmage and he makes the tackle. And he just completely blows up that play. So you know, plays like that. And then I also saw Teddy Buchanan in pass coverage as well, which is something that, for our linebackers, we had struggled with pretty greatly, especially last season, especially early on last season. So I was saying, like, it wouldn't be crazy to me, right? If Teddy Buchanan may started taking some snaps from Trenton Simpson, if Trenton Simpson cannot, live up to expectations. But what are your thoughts?
That is not ridiculous. That's not ridiculous to say. I do like that take a lot. And, what has Trent Simpson really showed us last year? I didn't really see a lot. He had a couple of tackles for losses, nothing crazy, maybe a couple of pass deflections, but he unfortunately, not to address the elephant in the room, he got benched. Chris Board came in here off the street, took snaps away from him. Hell, Malik Harrison took snaps away from him. So if I'm Teddy Buchanan, you know, I get the competition, but you can easily have that second linebacker spot next to Roquan Smith, and I like the way he played. I'm glad you brought him up as well. So who knows what we see? And I think that's kind of one of the open positions left on this team is who will start day one next to Roquan Smith. I can very well see it being Teddy Buchanan. I think it'll be Simpson, but if he shows out on Saturday against the Commanders, would not surprise me whatsoever. If he's out there in Buffalo, start next to Roquan.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely, I can see that, and he just looks the part too. There's just something.
Yeah,
There's something about him. There's like a certain aura, almost. You know, the word the kids like to use. There's
kids
a
these
certain
days.
aura, yeah, that I feel like Teddy Buchanan has, and I feel like again, he could be probably, dare I say, probably the most underrated slash most valuable draft pick that the Ravens got in the 2025 draft. I can honestly see that happening from where he was picked. What round was he picked in again?
He was, I think, a 4th round pick out of
Fourth
UCLA.
round pick. Yeah, a fourth round pick out of UCLA. I think we can get some really, really good value out of that kid. So we'll continue to monitor him. I'm sure he'll get some more snaps against the Commanders in the final preseason game of the preseason. But other takeaways. Okay, other takeaways from the Dallas Cowboys game. I had brought up Tyler Loop in this one. So he went 5 for 6 in that game, and he only missed one field goal, and that was actually from 50. But he then followed it up by hitting from 53 to close the game. So very good showing from him. John Harbaugh actually came out after the game and said that, yeah, it's his job. It's Loop's job. Number one kicking spot. You know what I mean? Like, he's the starter there. Like, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. So what are your thoughts right now, your current assessment on Tyler Loop? Because there was some news that came out today from training camp that he was like 6 for 8. He missed a couple. I think he missed one from like PAT range, which is kind of concerning, to be honest with you. So he's got his ups, he's got his downs. You can only really expect but so much out of a rookie kicker. And just like, nobody's perfect, right? So we don't expect him to go 100% kicking the football. But like, what is your current assessment of Tyler Loop on this very day?
So we know he can hit from mid 50s, which is good. I think my goal for him this year, if I had to set like a goal, is him hitting around 83 to 85% of his field goals, and maybe only 1 or 2 misses from as a point after. But I think kind of living the mindset that we were last year when we knew Tucker had his struggles was just score touchdowns. You can't miss field goals if we're not taking them, and that's kind of what was happening. We took a lot less field goals those last couple of weeks as we were putting the ball in the end zone, and Tucker came on and banged a 30-some yard extra point. And I think we'll be like that this year. And we've talked about, how we'll be better in the red zone, I want to say, and probably a better offense than we were last year. Crazy to think about, but just my honest assessment. But he's hitting what, 6 out of 8, 5 out of 6. Not mad at it. Hell, if Tucker would have hit 5 out of 6 last year against the Eagles, we're playing the Bills in the divisional round at home. So it's something like that that can really make a difference. But I'm fine with where he's at. I'm not mad. I think he's doing a good job for the situation he's thrown in, and he can only kick what's thrown in front of him. And in game situations, he's bounced back, which kind of is a good quality you want a kicker.
Yeah, absolutely. But I will say this, Alex, and I tweeted this earlier today. Us as Ravens fans, we have to mentally prepare ourselves for moments of heartbreak
Hmm.
when it comes to missed kicks this season. Whether that be in the regular season, I hope it's not in the postseason, but it's a long regular season. It's a rookie kicker. There's going to be a lot of big moments, maybe one score games where we really need those 3 points, right? And he's going to miss. Like I said, again, no one's perfect. We don't expect him to come out and be J Tug 2.0, at least not immediately. You know what I mean? Like, we were so spoiled for so many years with Justin Tucker and what he was able to do, how consistent he was able to be, and the big leg that he had. But this is a rookie, guys. This is a rookie. So I need everybody to mentally prepare themselves, because I said this on a stream last week. I said, you know, Tyler Loop, well, let me back up. Justin Tucker missing a field goal was one thing mentally, right? Because you knew if he missed, he was probably going to bounce back. We had all the confidence. We had all the, historical, empirical data to back up the fact that this guy's going to bounce back. He's going to start hitting kicks. He actually ended the season very, very strong. But Tyler Loop missing a kick is going to feel a lot different. It's going to feel a lot different because you're going to feel like his confidence can be shaken a little bit easier, right, than a long-time seasoned veteran like Justin Tucker, who is widely regarded as the GOAT of kicking. Won't get into anything that he had going on, that led to his departure from the team. But I say all that to say, mentally prepare yourselves, because it's going to feel like doom and gloom, like the world is ending, like the sky is falling, if Tyler Loop misses a kick, right? Misses a big
Yes.
kick. And you just kind of have to take a deep breath, take a step back, realize this guy's a rookie, and he'll get it together. So I just want the Ravens fans to know that. You agree with that, Alex?
I think that's a great point. That is a great point. It's gonna happen. I hate to say it. A guy like Tucker in a divisional game in double OT, kicking the game-winning field goal in Denver against Peyton Manning and that Broncos team, it wasn't normal. Let's just put it like it. He is a generational kicker, and he was. That's not normal, and I'm not expecting Luke to be a generational kicker. But if he is, and we hit back to back, more power to you. But like I said, around the 80% range, 4 out of 5 is kind of what I'm expecting from him. And if we're in, Cincinnati and it's a 53-yard field goal like last year and 3 minutes left, I'm probably a little nervous and I might not want to watch because I don't think it's going to go in. Unlike Tucker last year, he banged it through. So that's a great point. And I think you have to be patient, but I just hope we aren't in those situations. And if we are, hopefully it's like later in the year where the games won't matter. But yeah, just mentally prepare yourself. The head and the heart.
Absolutely. TM says here, says, I'm not worried about it. I just hope we don't put ourselves in a position to have to rely on him like that too many times. And see, here's the interesting thing, because like I said, I tweeted about this earlier, and somebody responded basically saying that the Ravens are going to go for it on so many fourth downs this season, like even more than, because I think last year was the year where anything 4th and 2 and shorter than that, the Ravens are going for it, right? You might see the Ravens tack on a whole extra yard to that scenario. So 4th and 3 or shorter, depending on field position, they might just be going for it. You know what I'm saying? I don't think that if the Ravens are on their opponents, let's say we're playing the Bills. If the Ravens are on the Bills' 37-yard line, right, and it's 4th and 3, I think John Harbaugh decides to go for that. I think he decides to go for that. I don't think that he wants to put Tyler Loop, especially not early on, right? I don't think he wants to put him in harm's way like that in terms of like, putting all that weight on his shoulders to make a big kick. Instead, we're just going to give it to our $250 million quarterback, right? And we're going to let him do, whatever he needs to do with the football to get those 3 yards, because we know that he can. He's proven time and time and time and time again that he can convert, Lamar Jackson, that is. So, I definitely think that we can expect a lot more fourth down conversions, or just going for it in general on fourth down. Will that scare the hell out of me? Yes, it will. But I think it'll definitely pay off in the end. Honestly, I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of the Ravens going for it on 4th and 2 and shorter. I am. I know a lot of people probably aren't. They would prefer, us to kick or just play it safe and play the field position game. But no, man, when you got Lamar Jackson at quarterback, it gives you a whole different luxury, right? It's kind of like the Eagles' whole tush push thing. If they get like 4th and 1, then it's an automatic first down, because they're going to run the tush push. If we get 4th and 2, it's like, okay, is it going to be a QB power? Is it going to be a quick RPO? Is it going to be a read option for Lamar? There's just so many. Is it going to be a tush push with Mark Andrews? Who knows?
Man.
Which and let's talk about that. I think we should do away with the Mark Andrews tush pushes. I'm not a big fan of them.
Yeah, why him? That's kind of weird to me, considering his leg was unfortunately, broken just 2 years ago. And it kind of worries me in that sense. Like a guy like Kolar, I could see a little bit bigger, I think, but he's a hell of a blocker. So I don't know there. But going back to what you said, I mean, we went for it on fourth down inside the Chargers 20 last year. So I think it's just kind of however John's feeling in that moment, he'll go for it. But it depends what the analytics say, and how he's really analytics driven. But I
Yeah.
think for this year, it's going to stay to go for a lot more. For that reason, is we have a rookie kicker now. My only problem is when we leave points on the board. I think in like big games, like if we're playing the Bills, and say it's second quarter, let's say we're up like 10-3. If we're going for it and we don't and we get stopped instead of taking 3, it annoys me because I'm going to go up by 2 possessions. But in other games, I think like when we play, for example, the Texans, 100% could see him go for it. Depending who the defense is and how the defense is playing as well, I get it. So, but if we're gonna kind of look at stats, I think this year we'll have a higher percentage going for it on fourth down, 1,000,000%.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I mean, when you have the quarterback like that, and then of course, I think I saw somebody, I think Dre was in the chat talking about how Derrick Henry is such a threat too in
Yeah,
those short yardage situations. Like, yeah, I mean, honestly, well, I don't know. I was gonna say, I would rather have Derrick Henry in that tush push spot, than a Mark Andrews. I mean, I don't know though, because Derrick Henry's really tall. I feel like for that tush push, you want to have somebody with a slightly lower center of gravity. You know what I mean? So they can kind of like
Yeah,
really churn their legs, and guys can't really get to their legs as easily because Derrick Henry's got some long legs, and again, he's really tall. Um, how tall is Derrick Henry in comparison to Mark Andrews? Because they can't be that far off. Let me see.
that is a good question. You're looking it up.
Yeah, I'm looking it up. How
Okay,
tall
cool.
is Derrick Henry? Go ahead.
And one thing, like while we're on the topic of play calling, I'm still waiting for the Derrick Henry passing touchdown. Don't
Mm.
I still am scarred from 2019 of him hitting it on us. Like I know it is in the playbook somewhere. Um,
And
the
Mark
same
Andrews
way.
is 2 inches taller, actually, which is crazy. He's 6'5". Mark Andrews is. Derrick Henry is listed at 6'3",
Okay.
which is
Okay.
I don't know. It's just something about Mark Andrews in that tush push spot. I mean, he didn't get it against who was it? The Raiders last year, I want to say.
That was Kolar doing it actually. Kolar took it.
Oh, right, right,
Okay,
right.
Kolar took it.
Yeah, yeah. But I'm sorry, I cut you off. What were you saying before?
Just that I'm looking forward to a the Derrick Henry passing touchdown. Like I know it's gonna happen this year. I just don't know when we're gonna pull it out. We didn't pull it out last year, but this year it has to happen, right?
Yeah, I mean, well, Todd Monken, I I just don't know. I don't know. I feel like there's so many different things that you can do within, like the 10-yard line, right? Because obviously that's something that you do like really, really close to the goal line. Um, I just don't know if that would ever be necessary, to be honest with you, Alex. Like it's something that if in a playoff game, gotta have a touchdown. There's just so many other ways for the Ravens to score. Just so many other ways. I mean, there's Lamar Jackson, there's Zay Flowers, DeAndre Hopkins, Rashad Bateman, Mark Andrews, likely when he gets back, Derrick Henry back there. You know what I mean? Justice Hill, who's always available, somehow, some way. So I just don't know if maybe it's a direct snap to Derrick Henry and then he just throws it over the top, like
Yep.
maybe, right? But I don't know. I don't
You
know. I
bring up
don't really see it.
Munkin. This guy sent Ronnie Stanley out on a passing play. I think on a 2-point conversion against the Bills last year. That still
He did.
baffles me. I'm actually a little bit upset about that play, Todd Munkin, but um, Dre here says Derrick Henry touchdown to Lamar Jackson would be crazy. It would. A play like that's like the one that you see on those commercials, like when football's coming back. That's like one of the
Yeah.
plays you're going to show. Um, so I would like to see that, but we're just talking about some trick plays. We're lucky enough to be talking about that as Ravens fans right now. So that's
Yeah.
good.
Another huge takeaway from the Dallas Cowboys game this past Saturday was Tez Walker. And
Hmm.
Captain Gamer kind of brings it up here. Captain Gamer says, I've heard some people complaining that Tez Walker does not go 100% when the ball does not go his way or on a run play. What are your thoughts? For me, I'm fine with it because preseason, but afterwards, thumbs down. So I actually didn't hear about that. Did you hear anything about Tez Walker? Kind
I did
of,
not. I did not. So
I
yeah, I
just
have
saw him
not seen
catching
that.
everything on the field.
Yeah, I saw him catching that. I saw him actually, running some nice routes, making some nice hand catches, knowing, where kind
Yeah.
of bounds is, just finding just the open space. But stuff like that, unfortunately, as Ravens fans, we know it gets you a seat in the doghouse next to Ben Cleveland.
Yeah.
So, unfortunately, you have to show more effort. Got to go all out, or you'll be in the doghouse.
Yeah, and he does not deserve to be in the doghouse at all. Um, Dre says, I think Tez is going to be fine. I think he's going to be fine too. It's just he's going to have to make the absolute most of every single opportunity that he gets, right? Um, you know, with Tez Walker, he's got a lot of guys ahead of him. So if he does find some snaps at wide receiver on game day and Lamar Jackson targets him, he's just like, again, he just got to make the most of it. But I liked what I saw from him catching with his hands, like you said, running some really good routes. Um, you know, eh, he was honestly like a security blanket for Cooper Rush in that
Yep.
first half, man. I mean, he just kept going back to him and back to. I think he had like 5 catches in the first 2 drives. I want to say it was
Hmm.
crazy. It was crazy. So the fact that the Ravens actually have some solid wide receiver depth, which is another reason why I still don't understand how in the big 2025, so many of the national media members who talk sports, they do not view the Ravens wide receiving group as a top 10 room in the league. I I would probably struggle to find 10 wide receiving rooms that are head and shoulders better than what the Ravens have.
Let's
I
do it.
mean,
Let's do
yeah,
it.
I mean, we might as well. We might as well, right?
We'll
So I
go
mean,
we'll go division by division. We'll start
sure.
off division by division. We'll start with the AFC North.
Okay.
Steelers, Browns, Bengals.
So I mean, obviously Bengals better. T. Higgins and Jamar Chase. Steelers, no, I'm not gonna say that the Steelers have a better wide receiving core than the Ravens. I mean, outside of DK Metcalf, who are we really afraid of? I mean, are we afraid of Calvin Austin? Um, who's the guy? Roman?
Roman
What's his
Wilson.
last name? Roman Wilson. Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Um, do they have Van Jefferson now? Like, I
I think he plays for the Patriots now, Van Jefferson.
oh,
He's not even
okay,
there
okay, okay,
anymore.
okay, okay.
Um,
Who am I
if
thinking
Pickens
of?
was
Receiver
there,
like that?
100% taking him over.
Yeah,
100% taking him over. So we'll say the Bengals right now. All right, we'll move on to the AFC East. Patriots,
sure.
Jets, Bills, Dolphins.
Bills, no.
Patriots, no.
Jets, Patriots, no. I mean, they got Stephon Diggs, but outside of that, not really afraid of anybody there. Um, who else? As my Siri pops up, it's always doing this.
Jets have Garrett Wilson, Alan
Hold
Lazard.
on. There we go. But outside of, I mean, who else was it? So Patriots, no. Bills, no. Dolphins, I mean, outside of Tyreek, who are we talking, Alex?
I like Waddle. I do.
Yeah,
I think
Waddle.
Jalen
Yeah,
Waddle. I
true.
mean, it's just health for him. I'd put the Dolphins above it. I'm not mad at that. I mean, we can.
We can,
I'm not
yeah,
mad
I'll
at that.
settle for the Dolphins. I'll settle for the
Okay.
Dolphins. So
All
that's two
right.
so far.
AFC South: Titans, Colts, Texans, Jags.
Yeah,
I like Nico
no.
Collins and Higgins from Iowa State. I do like him on the Texans. But as for the Jags, what is Travis Hunter? Is he playing receiver? Is he playing DB? BTJ
Brian
is going to be.
Thomas, yeah.
Don't get me wrong. He's going to be a dog.
Yeah,
He's going to be a dog.
yeah.
Colts, no. I'm going to put that right now. Titans, no.
Right.
Texans, I mean, it's a lot of potential there. Nico Collins would be our number one. I'm not going to, shy away from that. But Jags, for me, unknown with
Travis Hunter,
Travis
yeah.
Hunter. So, I mean, there are question marks right there. And then the AFC West, Chiefs, Chargers, Broncos, and Raiders. Raiders, no. Um, I do like the Chiefs room.
Who? Okay, so let's go receiver for receiver. Who do the Chiefs have?
Worthy, Rasheed Rice, Hollywood,
Mm-hmm.
Juju Smith-Schuster.
I see. Sky Moore. I Okay, so Rashee Rice. Would you say he's better than any receiver on the Ravens?
Yes.
Okay. And Xavier Worthy. Do you think he's better than any receiver on the Ravens?
I think he would. I can't put him above Zay right now. I can't.
Right. And to be honest with you, I mean, because what are we valuing here? Right? What are we valuing here? Because, like, to me, I look at a Rashad Bateman who, look, I know a lot of people do not view Rashad Bateman as a top tier wide receiver. I get that. He is a 2. He's a wide receiver 2 as it stands right now. But when you go back and you look at, see, nobody's really paying attention to what Rashad Bateman just did last season.
Yep.
Nobody's paying attention. I mean, the guy had the most touchdowns per reception in the league, right? And he actually had the highest number since I think Randy Moss in 07, right? The guy, Rashad Bateman, and this is not like a fabricated stat. Rashad Bateman caught a touchdown on every 4.6 receptions in the 2024 season. That is absolutely insane. So if we're valuing like red zone threats, like touchdown potential and stuff like that, a lot of these guys that we're listing right now, I'm not putting above Rashad Bateman. And then we also know Rashad Bateman has been flashing in training camp a lot recently. Him and Lamar Jackson's chemistry seems to be taking that next step. So when we're talking about these guys, like with the Chiefs, right? Rashee Rice, cool. I think he's nice. He's good. And he's in an offense that allows him to shine. But
Agreed.
at the same time, I can't say that he's head and shoulders better than a Rashad Bateman. That may just be me with the purple glasses, but that's just my opinion. So I'm not gonna put the Chiefs as I'd say they're probably neck and neck, to be honest. Chiefs and Ravens right now.
I I think you can put us in the same tier. I think we're a tier maybe 2 receiving core, which I think is fair to say. Tier 1's your Eagles, your Bengals and stuff like that. But I'll put us at tier 2. I just want to keep on going. I don't think the Chargers can hold a candle to ours. I like Lad McConkey a lot.
Yeah,
You got Keenan Allen. I mean, cool. But you also
Quentin
have Greg
Johnston.
Roman, Quentin Johnson, who who was in the hospital. I hate to say it. I mean, hospital ball from her when he dropped it. So I like the Ravens over the Chargers. We'll go to
Yeah.
the NFC
Okay.
East. Eagles, Commanders, Cowboys, Giants.
Eagles definitely.
I like the Cowboys as well. CD and
Cowboy. Yeah. Cowboys
Pickens and
definitely. Yeah.
like that. Commanders.
That's an interesting one.
Terry's holding out. If he's
He
healthy,
is.
I mean, I'm cool with that. But in the big 2025, Debo Samuel is not moving me.
No. No.
It's just
So
not happening.
like I'll take Zay Flowers over Debo Samuel, right now, because I feel like both of those guys, not to say that they have like a similar skill set, but I feel like they're utilized in a similar way. It's just kind of like get them the ball as quick as possible in a lot of cases and just kind of let them weave through traffic and things like that.
Yep.
But in 2025, again, I'm taking the upside of a Zay Flowers, who I think is about to have a big
Yep.
breakout year, to be honest with you. Coming back from that I word that he suffered at the very end of last season, I think he's going to be coming back with an absolute vengeance. I think Todd Monken and Lamar Jackson are going to work together to make sure that he gets the football and make sure that he's getting a lot of, because he led the team in targets, I want to say, right?
Mm-hmm.
Didn't he lead the team
Yep.
in targets? Yeah. So I only expect that to take another step again this season. So again, some of this may sound a little bit purple glasses right? But at the same time, I feel like we're making a lot of sense. So no,
And
I'm
we're
not
not saying
taking
we're the
the
best.
Commanders. Yeah,
We're not
no.
saying we're the best in the league by any means. We'll go to the NFC South.
Okay.
Panthers, Falcons, Bucks, Saints. I like the Bucks. That's about it. Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, and then Amika Igbua, because McMillan's going to be out half the year now with a neck outward. Sorry about that.
Yeah,
That's the
I'll
only one.
go. Yeah, I'll definitely stick with the Bucks as well.
Drake London's a
Who?
dog. Don't get me wrong. I think he'll probably have
Yes.
a huge breakout year this year.
Yeah, but yeah,
So
I'll
I'm
go
just
with the
going to
Bucks too.
yeah. And then NFC West, Rams, Niners, Cardinals, Seahawks. Not putting the Seahawks over us. Not putting the Cardinals over us. Niners, I mean, their number one right now is Ricky Pearsall. And the Rams, I do like with Puka and Devontae Adams.
Yeah, I'd have to go Rams. Rams definitely got us there for sure. Tay Adams and Puka, that's a scary sight right there. I'm not gonna lie
Yeah.
to you. But outside of that, I was thinking about the what's the other team you just named?
Cardinals,
Gosh,
Niners,
the other
Seahawks.
one, Seahawks. Cooper Cup, Jackson Smith, and Jigba.
Yeah.
That tandem there, I feel like kind of gives the Ravens a little bit of a run for their money. But I do think that with the addition of a DeAndre Hopkins, and take this how you want, I think the Ravens slightly edge out the Seahawks
Mm-hmm.
as well
I can see that.
with DeAndre Hopkins. So yeah,
And I think also with your quarterback play as well. I hate to say that, but I have to take it into effect because it's going to affect their stats as well. And
yeah,
then we're going to go to the NFC North: Packers, Vikings, Bears, and Lions. This one right here, this is some good receivers in this division.
yeah,
Lions, Amon Ra, JMO,
yeah.
and then Vikings. I think Addison and Jettis, who I think is
Jettas,
the
yeah,
best in the league. Him and
yep,
Chase 1 and 2. I'm not going to argue. Could you make a case for either of them? Um, Packers, no, I'm not. Christian Watson, Jaden Reed, those guys unfortunately miss probably about 20 games a year, all their receivers combined. And then the Bears is a question mark for me. DJ Moore, Roma Dunze. I didn't really see a lot from Roma Dunze last year. I don't know if maybe it was the offense. I got to see more from him. But while I'm on the topic of the Bears, I love the way Caleb Williams played on Sunday night. I love what Ben Johnson's doing. I hope he can find a way to make him show why he was number one overall pick because the talent's
yeah,
there. But I was really happy to see their offense cook.
yeah. I think Ben Johnson. I don't want to say he has his work cut out for him in trying to unlock Caleb Williams, because I feel like it shouldn't be that hard, to be honest with you. I just feel like the Bears were just ran by a dumpster fire in the front office last season with Eberflus at coach. They had to get him out of there and get in a boy genius like a Ben Johnson to kind of turn things around. And apparently, Ben Johnson is taking some of that kind of tenacity that he got from like Dan Campbell in Detroit, and he's bringing that to Chicago. Which Chicago, it fits in very well. That kind of like that mentality, it fits in very well in the Windy City. So we'll see if Caleb Williams, in a week one against they play the Vikings. They play the Vikings
Yeah.
week one. I want to say on the road. I'm not exactly sure, but that is one that I'll definitely be tuning into because I want to see firsthand what Caleb Williams has to offer. And then I also want to see what JJ McCarthy has to offer too, because there's
Yeah.
been a lot of talk about them. They moved off of Sam Darnold, who had them all the way, almost to the NFC Championship game last season before they ultimately fell short. But I want to see how that story progresses as well. But let's continue. So
Yeah.
I think so far we only have like what 3 teams, maybe 4 teams.
So I'm definitely putting Vikings above us. I'll
Yeah.
put Lions above us out of those
Mm-hmm.
two. I will. We just had the Rams,
Mm-hmm.
Cowboys, Eagles,
Mm.
5,
Yep.
Buccaneers, 6,
Mm-hmm.
Bengals, 7. Who else in
Mm-hmm.
the AFC was definitely better than us?
You said Dolphins, and I agree.
I could put neck and neck, but I think they just slightly edge us out, unfortunately, which I'm not mad. We're at 8. Uh,
Yeah.
Chiefs I get what you said, Chiefs. I'm gonna hold them off on that. The South, I mean, for me, the Texans and Jags is too many question marks to put them ahead of. Like Nico and BTJ are ones, but who's
Yeah.
behind them? It's just too big of a question mark right now for me to actually put them above what we have.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's
I'll
about
put
it to
I'll put
me.
Chiefs I'll put Chiefs to be 9. We're 9 right there.
Sure. Yeah.
Just
Sure.
to give that benefit of the doubt. But that's what I'm gonna say is probably definitely better than ours. And the rest, I mean, you can go pound for pound, and I'll be happy to argue that. But I can definitely put 9 receiving cores ahead of us for sure, one
Yeah.
million percent.
Which is still, it puts the Ravens receivers at top 10 in the league. And again, this is a lot of purple glasses, but I feel like we were very realistic in that. Now, if you ask the national media, a lot of they'd probably put the Texans above us. They'd probably put, um, you know, uh, like the Commanders above us. They'd be like, oh, Terry McLaurin had a really good year last year. Guys like that. And another thing is this. It has a lot to do with like the lack of production that you see from Ravens wide receivers has a lot to do with the style of offense that the Ravens run and the type of quarterback that they have.
Mm-hmm.
But when you like you said, you talk about pound for pound, I mean, I can't really think of a much more well-rounded receiving core than what the Ravens have. I mean, you got Zay Flowers, who is R1, right? Super fast, shifty, right? Really good hands, good route runner as well. And then you've got he's kind of smaller too, lower center of gravity. He can kind of dart around things like that. Then you've got a Rashad Bateman, who again, I know a lot of people in the national media do not respect as of right now. I think if you put Rashad Bateman up against Quentin Johnston to the average NFL fan and ask them who's better, a lot of people would probably say Quentin Johnston, to be
Mm-hmm.
honest with you. Just like being ignorant, just lacking the knowledge of what Rashad Bateman does within the Ravens offense because he doesn't get that many targets, truthfully speaking. But so again, man, say all this to say the Ravens have a very underrated, I would say, wide receiving room, and I can't wait to see what they got going on this year.
And that's the way I think I like it. I don't want you to say that we have all these guys. I think when you add in our tight ends, that maybe that bumps us up. Obviously, with the Raiders and having Brock Bowers, that bumps them up as well. Because I think, I mean,
Yeah,
I don't want to throw around that G word, but Brock Bowers looks that G word generational.
he
He
does.
shows. I watched that preseason game against the Niners. He made that catch where he just went up there and got it. I'm rooting for the
Yeah.
Raiders this year. I hope something has to give. I think Pete Carroll's the guy to lead them and Gino, but not to get off topic. With the Ravens, though, I think Rashad Bateman is probably one of the more disrespected players in the NFL. Guy had 11 touchdowns in the regular seasons and the playoffs. I think people look at his lows more than his highs. They look at the ball hitting him in the face against the Browns. Cool. That's fine. What I'm looking at is opening drive touchdown against the Bills. I'm looking at a touchdown where he cooked the Steelers corner and caught it. It's stuff like that in previous years, who was catching touchdowns for us in the playoffs? We weren't. We had to
Mm,
run them in because we couldn't pass. So you know how I feel about Bateman. I know you feel about Bateman. So if you're looking to hate on him here, we're probably going to, dispute any type of claim you bring. So, and getting D Hop is nice as well. So I'm feeling good about this receiving core. Um,
Yeah,
all in all, to say, I like what the Ravens have, and let's go and do the damn thing this year.
let's do the damn thing. Exactly. So yeah, I mean that is our takes, or those are our takes basically on the Ravens' latest preseason game against the Dallas Cowboys. Now I kind of want to shift gears, get into some reports coming out of camp today.
Yes.
Um, and I actually have the article pulled up from the official Baltimore Ravens website on pretty much everything that happened. This article was written by editorial assistant Justin Robertson. So shout out to him as well. You can follow him on X. But Aeneas Peebles was a highlight of today's training camp. And I thought that was huge. It was huge for me because I am on record as of just last week saying how I feel like this defensive line can be a little bit thin. And I'm talking more so about the defensive tackles, like the interior of that defensive line. Outside of Nnamdi Madubuike and Travis Jones, I mean, we're looking at John Jenkins and Brent Urban and the like, right? And I feel like there's not enough depth there to really make me feel comfortable. If something were to happen to Travis Jones or Nnamdi Madubuike, Travis Jones missed a couple of games last season, with a bum ankle. Then he had to come back in and play on that bum ankle, and he still performed well. But I think that hearing a guy like guys like CJ Okoye and guys like Aeneas Peebles showing up and showing out in preseason games and showing out in practice, that it gives me solace. It gives me comfort because I am still of the school of thought that the Ravens will dearly miss Michael Pierce this season, and the lack of his presence will be felt. His absence will be felt. So, I love what I hear from there. Let me see. Let me just go ahead and read through this a little bit here. So it says, known for his pass rushing ability, Aeneas Peebles wants the league to know he's more than capable as a run defender, and that's what I like to hear because that's what we're losing in Michael Pierce. It says on one play during Tuesday's practice, Aeneas Peebles wasn't just capable, he excelled. Going against the first team offensive line, the 6th-round pick burst into the backfield and wrapped up Justice Hill for a loss. As he went back to the defensive huddle, Peebles even received a high five from Lamar Jackson, who had a front row seat to watch Peebles dart behind the line of scrimmage. Those are the plays the 6-foot, 289-pound Peebles expects from himself as he looks to make a name for himself as an every down lineman. In his first training camp, his expectations are becoming reality. And this is a quote from Peebles. He said, "I feel like I've definitely improved as a run defender. That's definitely something that's a part of my game that I feel like I needed to improve. And I feel like over these last couple of weeks, I've definitely done that." And Dennis Johnson, who's the defensive line coach for the Ravens, also has taken notice of Aeneas Peebles as well, giving him high praise. And he's actually known by his teammates and the coaching staff as Fub, F-U-B, Fub. And Dennis Johnson had this to say about Fub today. He said, and I quote, "Fub is one of the most explosive defensive linemen I've ever coached or evaluated on tape," end quote. Johnson said he uses his explosiveness in the run and in the pass game, and he gets his hands on people quicker than they get their hands on him. In the run game, that helps him a lot. So what we're hearing is he's aggressive, he's got great hands, and he's improving in the run defense. And, it's huge, man. I think that's probably one of the more underrated pieces of news that we've gotten coming out of camp so far. But what are your thoughts?
Yeah, that's good to hear. And like you said, like you look at behind Travis Jones and Madubuike, like you said, Broderick Washington, Brent Urban, John Jenkins. There is a hole because those guys, as much as we would love for them to play every down, it's physically close to impossible with the way that they're built, with what's running at them, with them going up against O linemen, shedding blocks. You have to have a couple of plays off, and that's just football. So having a guy like him that can come in there and not being a huge drop off where they can't just target you, have one guy on you and just push you out the way to open up a hole. That's big. So I wouldn't know who he beat. I saw Don Mario said he probably beat Flele on that play. I would love to know what lineman he beat. Obviously they won't tell us, but that does make a difference. If he beat a guy like Linderbaum and got through to Justice Hill, that means a lot to me. So good for him to make a name, and not say, he's probably a lock to make the team, but how many snaps he gets in the first week or so, a couple games, that'll be telling. I think week 3 for me is big. Jahmyr Gibbs, Dave Montgomery coming into town. That's when this run defense will really be tested.
Yeah, no, I agree. You're also going to get a motivated James Cook in week
Mm-hmm.
1. I don't,
Oh,
take that for what you
yeah.
want, but
Yeah.
I think that could be a challenge as well. But, and when it comes to him making a play against the starting offensive line, I want to take some time to talk about the offensive line now
Mm-hmm.
because John Harbaugh made it officially official today that from left to right, you're going to see Ronnie Stanley, Andrew Voorhees, of course, Tyler Linderbaum, Daniel Faalele, and Roger Rosengard. Now, this was not a huge surprise to most. However, I do want to say that because Harbaugh also did mention this. He said that they're most likely going to go into the season with 9 offensive linemen on the roster, which is big news because I think that could, hint to the fact that, hey, listen, some of these guys might not have the longest leash, and we want to make sure that we can rotate guys in and out as we see fit. And of course, the name that everybody, the hottest name, the most polarizing name on the offensive line, and maybe just the Ravens in general, is Daniel Faalele, number 77. Now, in the last preseason game against the Dallas Cowboys, he actually graded slightly lower than Ben Cleveland did. But Ben Cleveland had some bad plays. He put some bad plays on tape.
Mm-hmm.
Daniel Faalele, he had some pretty good plays. I saw one play where he successfully picked up a stunt, and that was something that I loved to see because it just always haunts me that Las Vegas Raiders game in Week 2 last year where I think they ran a stunt and he just could not pick it up. He just was nowhere near fast enough, quick enough to move his feet to get in front of the guy and pick it up. And there was a free rusher at Lamar Jackson, and I think that killed the drive, if I remember correctly. So I love to see that from him. But what are your thoughts on the offensive line right now with Harbaugh announcing that this is the official lineup for the O-line, him saying that we're probably going to have 9 offensive linemen? What do you think about Daniel Faalele? What are your thoughts on the O-line?
I, I'm still not sold on him. I'm not an offensive lineman evaluator. Um, I'm not going to sit here and use PFF grades because I know they said Ben Cleveland graded better than Falele, I think, but I thought Falele played better, and that's not really saying a lot. It's not. It's kind of it's ass versus ass. Who was less worse, and I guess it's been Falele. I see the Bengals had Dalton Reisner in for a visit. Wouldn't hate that whatsoever. Now that it's kind of official that what is it? Brandon Sheriff has retired, kind of under the radar. But 77 was always going to start. Kind of have to accept it, and he is a Harbaugh guy, I guess. But hopefully Voorhees can step up and show why we invest a lot of time into him and resources. And if 4 out of the 5 guys are playing above average, I guess that means the fifth really can't have that much big of an impact unless he's getting beat every play. But I hate to say and be that guy. I think it'll come to a point where he's going to be a big red flag on that line, and he'll be the main focal point of defenses kind of targeting him. So I hope it doesn't get that way. But once again, it may have to get the point where we have to sub him out and put somebody else in, and that could bring the juice this offense needs. But you can't have a walking red flag at right guard. You just can't, man. And it's frustrating to say the least that it could have been addressed, but it wasn't.
Yeah, yeah. Again, man, Falele seems to have some sort of connection with, uh, you know, the front office and the coaching staff, and they all love him. So again, it's not even his job to lose; it's just his job,
Yeah.
And I don't really see the Ravens making any changes there unless he's just painfully bad. He would.
Yep.
I don't know how bad he would have to be in order for the Ravens to
Um,
justify moving off of him.
I don't want to say it's us losing games, but I think it's maybe a third down or fourth down that he just completely blows his assignment because John doesn't want to be proved wrong, and also he's a free agent after this year, so I'm not sure what we're getting at because for Falele going into this year, like me and you talked about it, I think he was one of the guys who really upped his play the last couple of years, a couple of
Yeah,
games last year.
couple of games. Yeah.
So he had all that momentum going in a training camp, and somehow, some way, it just went all downhill. Starting with the game against the Colts, like practice is practice. Like we're talking about practice here, they're only limited to do so many things. But when you're in a game, when somebody else running at you with their livelihood, their family, their food on the line, and you get ran over the first couple of plays, that is a huge red flag to me. Like what happened? You lost all this weight and you got in good shape, and now you can't hold a block.
Yeah.
It baffles me how that drop off happened so quick.
Yeah, man. Again, it's gonna have to be. Whew, it's gonna have to be some really, really bad play, like you said, in some really big spots, like third and long. Gotta have it sort of plays. If he completely blows his assignment and it gets Lamar Jackson killed, then I think that
Oh,
John Harbaugh's
yeah,
he's going to have to make some adjustments there. But we'll see, we'll see.
yeah,
Let me see. I heard also Mike Green had a really good day
yes,
today in practice. He's been stacking some practices, stacking some preseason games. No sacks yet in the preseason. He has no sacks in the preseason, but he's got a really good pass rush grade, a really good win rate so far. And I've talked about this, and I know a lot of other people who cover the Ravens have also said the same thing. He's got such an array of pass rush moves, but not only that, the way that he's able to chain them together. When one thing is not working, he immediately switches to another thing. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
if the bull rush isn't working, then he'll go to like a swim, or he'll go to the spin, or if the spin move isn't working, he'll go to a speed rush after that or something like that. It's just the combination of like power and finesse from Mike Green, I think is something that we should really, really be paying attention to going into the season. And this is another reason why I hope that the Ravens don't have the training wheels on him for too long. Like, let this guy get some snaps, right? Let him get some
Yeah,
reps, because especially, of course, Owe and Van Noy, they're going to be the two guys starting in those positions, rushing the
yeah,
quarterback. But I think that allows Mike Green to stay fresh throughout the game, so when he
yeah.
does come in, he can be highly, highly impactful against a tired left tackle or right tackle, or wherever they decide to line him up. So yeah, I mean, really like what I'm hearing about Mike Green as well. Apparently, he had a what would have been a pick six today in training camp, according to Jonas Schaefer. I think I saw on a cup, like a lame duck throw to the flat from Cooper Rush, and Mike Green was right there, kind of lurking the receiver, and he picks it off and would have taken it to the house. I don't really know what the ceiling is in terms of potential for Mike Green
Mhm.
in his rookie season. Now, I did ask the Rain Gang this the other day when I was on live, and I want to ask you the same question, Alex. When it comes to Adafe Owe, right?
Mhm.
And Mike Green, of course, Adafe Owe in a contract year, trying to get paid again, trying to
Yeah.
re up there on his money. How many sacks do you think it would take for Mike Green to get for the Ravens to just no brainer move off of Adafe Owe?
I'm gonna go 6.5, maybe 6.5, because his time will be limited. Obviously, starting this year, I think he'll pick it up. But you mentioned, him making plays. He's making plays without Matty BK getting doubled, without Travis Jones in there, without an above average edge rusher or average edge rusher beside him. Imagine an offensive line that's tired, and now you have, let's say we talk about Van Noy, you have Owe, Jones, Matty BK, and then Green. He's probably gonna get a one-on-one matchup, and I'm gonna like his chances in that. So he's producing without having guys around him. And I'm glad you brought up the edge rusher, but I think 6.5, maybe for the Ravens to say, you know what, like we have a guy here, we can let him walk, especially with what I think Owe will be commanding what Karlaftis got, the 22 maybe annual a year. I think he
Yeah.
got 4 year 90 something or 80. I think it was 88, but it's like 92 maybe. So it might be like a little bit more, 23, 24 a year. But talking about the edge rusher real quick, Lisa Isaac is out for a good amount of time. I think now, for me personally, Clowney's probably gonna get the ring. He doesn't like training camp. I understand why. Who would want to do extra work you don't have to do? You'll make the roster, Jadeveon. Come on back to Baltimore. We have a spot for you now, most likely. Um, wouldn't hate him either. I don't think he really stunt Green's growth because it's just a good heavy rotation. But 6.5 sacks for Mike Green sure show that oh wait, it's been nice, but we really can't afford to pay you right now.
Yeah, man. And, I think another kind of layer to that question is how well is Adafe Owe going to perform this season? Like, because if Adafe Owe takes that next step, and, he repeats with another 10 piece this season, and maybe he looks even better, like maybe he's wrecking games late in the games, then it's going to be hard to justify moving off of him as well. But we'll see. I think that the general consensus is that this is probably going to be Adafe Owe's last season in Baltimore. Somebody else will pay him around that Karlaftis money, like you said. But I think the future is here in Mike Green. I do.
All right, and while we're talking about OA, let's
Sure.
I am OA truther. Let me just not get this out of the way. He had 10 sacks. 5 of them came in 2 games last year. Both were losses.
What
Two and
games
a
were
half
those?
against 2.5 against the Raiders, 2.5 against the Steelers. In Pittsburgh, we lost 18-16.
Interesting.
So he had 5 in the other 15 games. Came against Buffalo, which was big at the time. I'm not going to downplay that was a big sack. He met Josh Allen 1-on-1 and pulled him down, which that's not an easy task. Tampa Bay, Chargers, Houston, and then Cleveland in the final year. Had a sack against the Steelers in the playoffs as well, and 3 quarterback hits. So he had 11 sacks in 19 games, 5 of which coming in 2.
Yeah.
No slight
I'm
whatsoever. No slight.
right. Yeah, I didn't know that. I didn't realize that. I thought they were a little bit more spaced out than that, but the fact that half of them came in just those couple of games, that's interesting. I didn't know that. I didn't realize that. But yeah, man. I mean, hopefully, again, the hope is, of course, he's under contract with the Ravens this year. He's gonna suit up. He's gonna start. I hope he gets another 10-piece McNugget, like my guy D was in the chat says. Another 10-piece McNugget would be awesome. Then he says a side of fries, like a pick or something.
Forced
Yeah, give me
fumble.
something.
I'm cool with it.
Yeah. But Odafe always does a lot of other things as well. Like he
Yes.
can run down running backs, he can set the edge, you know what I mean? He's good at a lot of other things, and the stacks he just kind of added that to his repertoire last season. So we'll see if he continues to build on that skill too. Tanja Bowman in the house says, "Hey PRP and Flock family, what's going on, Tanja? Appreciate you for coming through." All right, let me get into a couple of more tidbits of news from training camp today. Let me see. So, let me see. Lamar Jackson found Mark Andrews for a few chunk plays, one of which was a wide open touchdown on a deep pass near the end of practice. Lamar also found Rashad Bateman on a crossing route downfield, fitting the ball over the head of undrafted rookie inside linebacker Jay Higgins IV. Interesting stuff. I mean, again, like Rashad Bateman and Lamar Jackson's connection is growing by the day, by the second even. Mark Andrews, it's going to be Mark Andrews. Of course, we already know what, Mark Andrews is kind of like the like this team is Mark Andrews. This team is only as good as Mark Andrews is, if that makes sense, because just like much like Mark Andrews in the postseason, the performance just drops off. And that's kind of like for the entire team. I don't want to say too much for the defense because the defense actually plays very well in the playoffs. They bend, but they do not really break.
Correct.
Their only issue is not forcing turnovers enough, right? But I think the Ravens are only as good as Mark Andrews is. I can only imagine if Mark Andrews was having legacy games in the playoffs, how unstoppable the Ravens would be. You know what I mean? And that picture of Mark Andrews fumbling the ball, getting it plucked out, it resurfaced online the other day, and they kind of freeze frame it where Mark Andrews has that clear, a lot of daylight in front of him, but he decides to cut back. Will still haunt us to this day. I think that play right there really lost us the game because the Ravens were running away with that game. Quite literally, they were running away with the game. The Bills could not stop the run. The Ravens, I don't want to say they got cute, but got a little cute. Mark Andrews definitely got cute on that play and ended up getting plucked, and the rest is history. But Mark Andrews performing well in training camp. We know he's going to perform well in the regular season, if he can stay healthy. Knock on wood for that. Yeah, but good to hear that the Ravens pass catchers are coming along nicely. Let me see. Bateman had a long touchdown run on an end around following Andrews on the lead block and taking off down the sideline for the score. Hey, man, I'm telling you, man.
That did something to me. That just goosebumps. You can't tell. Goosebumps.
Yeah, man. Bateman, he's looking good. He's looking good. Produced by Urban Closer says it still hurts. It still hurts, man. It still hurts very bad.
You mentioned that, and I think the quote, "Do the ordinary things extraordinary," and that is kind of what the Ravens don't do in the playoffs. The simple things, just run upfield. If you're worried about just run upfield, you run upfield and just drop. If you're scared about fumbling, just drop to the ground. Give yourself up. You have a first down. Teams like that do that. They'll get the first down, and if they have somebody coming, they'll just kind of slide, jump, go forward for a couple of yards. There's nothing wrong with that. You had the first down. He should know how far he ran. He should know what he needs, and that's the ordinary things. Knowing where the first down marker is. And it's times things like that in the playoffs that haunt us and why we always come up short.
And see, I don't want to be this guy, but I feel like there was a reason why Mark Andrews cut back on that play.
Yep.
And I want to say the reason was because of, and I don't think we're on the same page here, Alex, just to let you know. I think I'm about to say something totally. I
I
think
don't
it
think you
was
are.
I think it was the field, bro. I think it was the snow. I think it was the
Oh,
fact that he didn't think that he could plant that left foot in the ground and just get upfield, right? He thought he might have slipped or something like that, which is a real kind of concern to have. You know what I mean? It was very wet. It was snowing all over the place. Obviously, like it was icy. The field was icy. It was very cold. So I think that he wanted to kind of like get his footing back by cutting back like that, right? And kind of getting his legs back underneath him and then try to turn upfield instead of just like catching it, turning, and running. You know what I mean? I feel like he maybe that's just my thing. But what were you thinking?
I think he was trying to play hero ball. I think he knew that he's lacked plays in the postseason, and he wouldn't have his moment. Instead of having your moment, you definitely had a moment, unfortunately. And I am a huge Mark Andrews fan. I'm rooting for him as much, but I just think that play right there, he just tried to do too much, and that's how those things happen. How many
Yeah.
times have we seen Travis Kelce left butt naked in the middle of the field, catch it, just runs upfield? I know you mentioned the snow. If you're worried about slipping, you have the first down. You fall. We're still moving the chains. There was
Yeah.
When have you shot that shot? I hate bringing that, but when have you ever done that? When have you ever juked somebody out, Mark? When?
Yeah. Not his
When?
bag. Definitely not his
You,
bag
you
at all.
jump
That's
over people. You hurdle. You don't.
yeah. And that's why I say like I've said this before on the stream that like he is more like he's like a Ford truck, right? He's built Ford tough. Like he's going to rumble, he's going to run through you as opposed to running around you. Now
Yes.
his counterpart, Isaiah Likely, is more like a stallion. You know, he gallops, right? He's got super long legs. He's got some sneaky speed to him as well. But he can get shifty. He can get, real agile on you as well. So I just like you said, when have you ever shot that shot? That's not in your bag, Mark Andrews. Like honestly, you would have been much better suited just sticking your foot in the ground, getting north, covering up the football, and maybe dragging a bill or two with you, right, to
Yep.
the ground. That would have been the best course of action. But before we get to anything else, we do have a super chat donation. This is coming from the Don.
The
What's
Don.
going on, Don? Our member in here dropping the 5-piece in the chat. Big shout out to you. Yes, sir, man. Don always coming through, always showing support. We appreciate it, man. Says, I'm the replay gang tonight, guys. Truth be told, I love napping. Great show, guys.
You're a
Understandable.
hard worker,
Understandable.
Don. I get it.
Yeah.
You gotta get that
Yeah.
sleep when you can.
Got to. We appreciate you each and every time, man. We really do. Let's see. What else we got here? Let me see. Manuel's Cod Channel says, but Sutton, if he had that concern, he would have given up there and no problem. So I guess you're saying he would have went down on that play if he had a concern about slipping or something like that. But maybe it was a combination of the two things. I think two things can be true. Maybe he had the concern of maybe slipping on the field, but he also still wanted to play hero ball. So, those two things, that plus that equals, all right, let me try to do something that I don't typically do. And end up, they had to pay for it. We paid for it. So
And plays like that, I hate to kind of compare it to another team, but that's why Bill Belichick, he's told his guys to stop diving for the pylon because they got punched out, goes in the back of the end zone, touchback.
yeah,
Live to fight another down. And that to me falls back on coaching.
yeah.
That's a whole nother topic for a whole nother episode.
It is, man, and we're gonna get to that episode eventually. But
Yeah.
yeah, you're absolutely right about
Yeah.
that. Just wrapping up the things from camp here. We talked about Tyler Loop, 6 for 8 on kicks today. He missed today from 33 yards out and 58 yards out. The 33 yards was the point after touchdown kick where he missed that, which was can't have that in the season at all. Can't have that. So hopefully he cleans up the consistency there. Also, in other news, DeAndre Hopkins returned to practice in a limited capacity after missing Monday's session to manage his knee. Cornerback Jalen Armour Davis also returned after missing Monday's practice with an illness. So glad to hear Jalen Armour Davis is back. Hopkins, of course, who is the savvy veteran, he is going to get all of the benefit of the doubt and all of the caution. They don't want him out there unless he's 100%, which I totally understand. Another one, Jair Alexander. Patrick Ricard, Kyle Van Noy, Chidobe Awuzie, and William Quinku, and wide receiver Dayton Wade did not practice today. Jair Alexander, I don't think he's practiced in like 10 days, I want to say.
Yeah.
It's been like a little over a week. Are you concerned at all about Jair Alexander? I mean, you think the Ravens may be hiding something? Is this something that we should worry about going into the season? What do you think?
He'll miss games. He will miss games this year. I hate to say it. They need him for games against the Bengals, games against the Vikings, divisional games against top tier receivers where Marlon can't be 3-4 places at once.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he has a lingering I word that I think won't really be healed until he ends his career. I hate to say it. Manuel Cacciano brings up his knee. Yeah, he has to get work done on it. I think they mentioned getting it drained. So why rush him back now when he doesn't need it? I mean, it'd be nice for him to be playing or practicing, but come, in 10 days, if he's not practicing, yes, I'll be worried. But I think he will be out there week 1, and it's just precautionary stuff right now, making sure he's ready for the year.
Yeah. Yeah. Really quick, I want to actually look up something because that actually wraps the training camp notes. But I want to look up the Bills wide receiving core.
Oh, of course.
Just really quick.
Keon Coleman. I mean, I know Shakir. They had Gabe Davis in for a visit today. He might be back there. Pass catchers, Kincaid, Knox.
Yeah. I mean, I don't really.
Shakir's a yak merchant. I'll tell you that right now. He is a yak merchant. Like, people make fun of Jamar for yak merchant. No, that is Shakir. That is 100% Shakir.
I can see that, but my thing is, like, when you look at, like, on paper, right, the Bills wide receivers do not match up well with the Ravens secondary, if you ask me.
No.
There's just too much talent on the Ravens secondary for me to really, have some sort of fear about what they can do. Now, of course, Josh Allen is the catalyst to that offense, and he's going to make things happen. But that is where, again, this pass rush needs to take the next step forward this year. I want to see guys like Owe and Van Noy take that next step. I want to see guys like Mike Green, Tavius Robinson, who's been, working diligently all offseason as well. And they talked a lot about him today too. I want to see those guys really get after the quarterback and really make it harder on Josh Allen, because there's just no excuse, right? There's simply no excuse for this defense, especially the secondary, to be getting burned by the likes of Check's Notes, Khalil Shakir, Keon Coleman, Curtis Samuel, and Elijah Moore. I don't really, I don't see it.
I'm going to talk my shit right now.
Go ahead.
I think they had 2 significant passing plays against us in both games last year. Guess who they were on?
B. Steve. I
Exactly.
remember.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Listen, it can come up by me. I'm not scared of their receivers. It's going to be Josh Allen making a big play and him, running around getting them open. Like, you're only playing the playoffs. Like, that was one of the most stinkiest playoff performances by him, Josh Allen. He had one good passing play. And that's because Brandon Stevens just was an idiot at that moment, not turning his head around. Surprise, surprise.
Yeah.
This secondary, to me, I think we hold them under 200 yards that game. I think they have to run on us. I think that's the only way they have to establish a run game. James Cook and Josh Allen has to make something with his legs.
Yeah, that's literally all it comes down to. I can definitely see the Bills, moving the pocket a lot for Josh Allen. Not that he necessarily needs it. Of course, he can throw from the pocket, but like you said, I mean, these DBs are going to be glued to these receivers like white on rice. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the fact that you got Kyle Hamilton back there and now Malachi Starks lurking as well, it's going to make it a lot harder for these guys to get open quickly. And with that being said, I think that you'll see a lot of Josh Allen potentially rolling out of the pocket, extending plays and just trying to get that extra couple of seconds for somebody to get open to make something work down the field. Because, I mean, like you said last year, I mean, 2 of their biggest passing plays, I believe the first one you're referring to was the Keon Coleman in the regular season game
On
up
the
the
sideline.
sideline, up the sideline where he bagged on Brandon Stevens. That was terrible. And then Khalil Shakir, of course, getting open down the middle of the field. I think down the seam, honestly, and catching that ball over Brandon Stevens when Brandon Stevens was kind of caught flat-footed as
Yep.
Shakir just ran right by him. That was equally as bad. And the fact that Brandon Stevens, I think that I saw a report that Brandon Stevens, no, it wasn't about Brandon Stevens. They were saying that a former Raven has been really struggling um with his new team. I think they were talking about Chris Board. But
Oh, okay.
Brandon Stevens, yeah, he, like Tandra says in the chat, B Steve helped us lose so many games last season. All the
Yeah.
teams threw his way. He was the weak link. But now
Yeah.
with a healthy DB room, again, granted, guys like Jair Alexander can stay on the field. Granted, guys like Awuzie and Marlowe and all those guys can stay healthy. Who do you pick on? Who do you pick on? I just
Nate
don't know who you
Wiggins.
pick on.
That's the only one because he takes risk. Outside of that, that's the only guy
Yeah.
I can really think you pick on.
And if that's your best option,
I'm happy. I'm happy with it.
good luck, Charlie. Good luck.
uh,
Um,
real quick, I know we want to talk about
yeah.
some of the preseason week 2. Daniel Jones is the starter for the Colts. Anthony
Yeah.
Richardson is the backup. I know you want to talk about that.
Yes. So earlier today, Shane Steichen, head coach of the Indianapolis Colts, came out and addressed the media, basically saying that Daniel Jones is going to be the week 1 starter, but not only the week 1 starter, he's not going to be on a short leash. He's going to be the starter for the season. Now, I think that last part was cap. Just me personally. I don't imagine a world where, 4 weeks into the season, 5 weeks into the season, Daniel Jones is playing like poop, and they don't want to get Anthony Richardson in there and just see what he's got, right? Because Anthony Richardson, is he an NFL starting level quarterback to where you can trot him out there every week? He's not gonna, make the most mistakes and really manage the game well. No, he's not that guy. He's kind of like he's a very raw talent. He's got a lot of promise to him. He's got a lot of upside. I kind of feel a similar way about Joe Milton. But if Daniel Jones goes out there and stinks it up, then they are going to put in Anthony Richardson. Like, let's not get it twisted, right?
Yeah, and I think they don't have the best receiving core. Obviously, I didn't rank them above the Ravens, but I like A.D. Mitchell. I like Michael Pittman. I like Alec Pierce. I think they don't have bad guys to throw to. They have more than capable guys to throw to. I think a guy like Richardson, a guy like Milton could really do a lot with a coach like McVay, a quarterback guru like a Shanahan, guys like that, like O'Connell in Minnesota, that just makes it easier and slows the game down. Because people were hyping up that one throw that Richardson had, and it was a great throw, but he had his running back, I think, up on a wheel route, wide open. That was the read you got to go to. I think it's just guys like that. He needs to be with the right coach that can slow the game down for him, and that's just not the guy. So he was rushed, I think, into the starting lineup. Not his fault. He's raw. I just hope it doesn't completely ruin his confidence, which it very easily can, because we've seen what he can do and we know he can make a lot of throws. So I'm hoping it's more of a learning lesson, and Daniel Jones won't make it past week 8. I have a hard time believing that. It just probably takes 3 to 4 straight losses, which I can really see happening, um, for him to kind of get benched.
Let me ask you this: who do you think lasts longer as starting quarterback this season? Do you think that Daniel Jones or Joe Flacco?
Oh, Flacco. I think Flacco.
Mm,
I think the I word of Shedeur really hurts, and I think Pickett getting hurts as well. Gabriel not really going to push for that, and Flacco already has chemistry. If I'm picking my fantasy drafts now, and let's say you don't get one of the top tight ends, get Njoku. Because if you look at his stats with Flacco, Flacco was feeding him 2 years ago. So I think
yeah,
Flacco will last longer, but Flacco has a ceiling, unfortunately. Well, we know his ceiling, um, with Joe.
yeah. And we got our guy G Money, Gerald
G
Lawson,
Money.
back in the house, man, dropping the 10-piece in the chat, making it rain here on episode 327 of the Purple Rain podcast. Gerald, we appreciate you, brother.
Thank you, sir.
I miss hanging out with the Purple Rain podcast. I have impaired vision, and it has not been easy, but I am good.
Oh,
Listen,
man.
Gerald, Well, thank you for sharing that with us. And
Thank you.
just know we are in your corner. We are in your
Yes.
corner, Gerald. We hope that you continue to rock out with us all season long. You've been supporting us for a very long time. So, again, we appreciate you. You are
Yes.
truly a Purple Rain pioneer, my friend. You really are. So, we appreciate
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you so much. But yes, I mean, I agree with you there. I think that Flacco will definitely have, the longer leash. And I think that he has, a little bit more staying power as starting
Mhm.
quarterback of the Cleveland Browns. So, uh, let's go ahead and move on here. You had mentioned the night game last night.
Yeah. Yeah. The Bengals defense is what we thought it was, and that is poor. That is trash. That is garbage. Um, the starters of the Commanders walked down in 4 plays and scored a touchdown. Jaden Daniels lowered the shoulder, just met one of the Bengals players at the goal line, touchdown. Their 6th round running back, Bill, is like he likes to go by, 30
I
some
which
yard
I don't real
touchdown.
quick, I don't know how you go from Jacory to Bill. I have no idea.
You know what? Maybe it's not for us to know, but I think it's the funniest thing. But he went absolutely untouched for 30 some yards, and they had 106 rushing yards, the Commanders, in 2 drives against the Bengals. 106
Jeez.
yards rushing in 2 drives. Mind you, Ravens defenses in like 07, 08, 09, they weren't giving up 100-yard rushers in games, in full 60-minute games. This was like in 7.5 minutes they gave it up. So, and then also I'm watching the Bengals. Burrow obviously was making his plays. So was Chase, but their line is so suspect. And I'm not a Bengals fan, but I think what really would help them out is unfortunately letting T. Higgins walk because Joshi Voss looks like a real talent for them, looks really good. And saving
Does
that
he?
money, yeah. And if you can invest in the O line and the defense, it really would have helped. But their O line and defense are huge red flags right now for the Bengals. I mean, they're
Jeez.
the best weapons, unreal, skill players. But yeah, Burrow was running around for his life a couple of times, got brought down. I think horse collar on one of them. They were just getting in the backfield.
Yeah, it could be another one of those very, very long, painful seasons for Cincinnati Bengals fans, only because, like you said, I mean, their defense is still a huge question mark. They're shopping Trey Hendrickson now as we speak. The best edge rusher from last season. So, if you don't have defense and you don't have good offensive line play, I don't care how good your quarterback is. I don't care how good your wide receiver talent is. You will not win the bulk of your games in a season. I mean, if I had to go over under, I'm not exactly sure what their win total is. I want to say it's at like what, 9.5, maybe
I
eight and a
think it
half,
is.
9.5. Okay, I would I would probably take. I don't know because I do feel like they can get the Browns out of the way twice. I do feel like they can beat the Browns twice. I feel like they can beat the Steelers once, and they'll probably lose to us twice.
I have them splitting with us. I just think it's hard to sweep them 3 times in a row, just with the amount of talent they have. But I could see a sweep.
I could see this. I think I see the sweep, man, and I guess
And
that might be. Yeah, go ahead.
we play them 2 times in 3 weeks.
Mm,
Bengals, Steelers, Bengals.
that's not until like the back half of the season, though, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, I don't know. I'd probably go under the 9.5 and put them right at about 9 wins. To be honest with you,
Okay.
but let me see here what you guys are saying in the chat. Were the Bengals starters on defense?
Some of the names I was hearing out there,
Mm,
starters.
yeah. Okay. I mean, I got to go back and watch that game. I actually missed that one last night, so I got to go back
Just
and
watch
watch
first half. That's all you got to
first half.
watch.
That's it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll check it out. I'll check
Even
it
like
out.
condensed gameplay. That's all you got to watch. Just the plays.
Okay. In other news, I mean, you can talk about the Cleveland Browns. Dillon Gabriel had his debut. I actually did get to watch that one. They played the Eagles. The Browns did on Saturday, and Dillon Gabriel, he went out there. I think he had, I think it was 148 yards, no touchdowns, 2 turnovers. He had 1 pick, and then they credited him with 1 fumble because it was a snap miscommunication or whatever. But they credited him with that fumble as well. So a lot of people are doing the comparing and contrasting to Shedeur Sanders' first game, which was 130 something yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, no turnovers. So,
Yeah.
but he's still Dillon Gabriel. my biggest takeaway is this: Dillon Gabriel is a smaller quarterback. He's
Mhm.
a pretty small guy. I think he's like only maybe 5'10", 5'11", which, for a quarterback in 2025, you would prefer your quarterback to be like Lamar Jackson height or above, like 6'2" or higher.
Yep.
But you know, I he didn't have a terrible game. I know there were no touchdowns. There were the 2 turnovers, but he was making some on-time throws. He was throwing into some tight coverage, I will say that. But his play kind of reminded me a little bit of like a Tua Tagovailoa. He's a lefty. I didn't know that. Um, and like he throws the ball with like not a crazy amount of velocity on it. He threw like a 10-yard out route to one of his guys, and it ended up being complete, but like it looked like a duck, like an absolute duck. And I'm just like, I don't know how well this is going to translate into January football if we were to make it there. You know what I mean? So I don't know.
It
What did you
won't.
make of Dylan Gabriel though? No?
It won't. It won't. I listen. I'm never gonna play quarterback, even in a flag football game, because that's just not who I am. But if I'm evaluating, I think your goal is just be a serviceable backup. One of the best jobs in the world, like a Josh Johnson. He's made a name as a backup. I just can't see Gabriel starting. You know, we saw they threw Bailey Zappi in week 18 against us, and that didn't go down well. I just don't see it for a starter. A lot of the guys drafted Tyler Show for the Saints. I don't see him being a starter. I think Rattler will be their guy. I don't think they'll be the best, but a lot of these quarterbacks coming out, I'm not seeing a lot of that star potential. Your day threes or late day twos. I'm just not seeing it. I think Shedeur obviously had a better appearance than he did, but he hasn't been thrown in the greatest situation. But that's kind of the Browns. They don't make it easy on quarterbacks there. So
Right.
his best bet, hopefully, is maybe going elsewhere, being a backup and showing something like a Trey Lance has done. I think he's looked pretty good for the Chargers, but he'll have a huge microscope on him this last game as well. It sucks for him
Absolutely.
because he shouldn't have that much pressure, but that's just kind of what the Browns did to those two guys.
Yeah, man. I mean, the Browns are gonna brown. That's for sure.
Hmm.
That's for sure. But yeah, we'll continue to monitor that situation. I hope that Shador Sanders gets a little bit more opportunity because I feel like what we saw in that first preseason game from him, he can build upon that. And I was so mad when he hurt his oblique last week and he wasn't able to
Yeah,
play this week, because I was waiting to see how he was going to put it together again and if he could. And if he did, listen, man, if Shador Sanders went out there against the Eagles this past Saturday and had himself a game, oh, I mean, they'd be talking about, wait a minute, Shador Sanders should be starting. He should be starting over Joe Flacco. That's what they would probably be, saying in the media, but didn't get the chance to do that. That would have been a very, very interesting
yeah.
topic this week, but gonna have to wait until next week. Maybe he'll play this weekend. I don't know who their final preseason game is, the Browns, but uh, yeah, we'll see if he plays. We'll see if he plays. But okay, let's go ahead and get into our last topic of the show.
Yes,
Appreciate you guys for rocking out with us an hour and a half in. This
this
is
is
actually a
long,
longer show. This is a long
long, long.
show. Yeah, it's a long show. We haven't done
It's
one this long
preseason,
in a
by the
minute.
way.
It's
It's
preseason too.
literally preseason.
Yeah, yeah. But lots to get into. So we've gotten into all of it. Listen, if you're part of the hashtag replay gang, right? Thank you
Woo!
so much for joining this episode of the show.
Thank you.
If you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or wherever you get your podcast, shout out to you. Hello. Appreciate you for coming through. If you're watching on X, shout out to you. If you're watching on Kick, shout out to you as well. And then if you're watching on YouTube, the most important platform, make sure you like the video. Subscribe to our channel as well if you do not want to miss any of our content coming up this season. But last topic. So UFC 319 went down this past weekend. We talked about it on Thursday's episode. And, basically with the main event, right? You were telling me you didn't like Hamzat Chimaev's fighting style. And he basically said, F you, Alex. Like, I'm going to do exactly what you expected me to do. And you're going to like it for 5 rounds, for 25 minutes. What was your thoughts on the main event, Hamzat Chimaev dominating Dricus du Plessis for 5 rounds?
Remember how I said that I fell asleep during the preseason? That was kind of on purpose to stay up for UFC. It really was on purpose because I did want to watch it.
Yeah.
Mr. Sutton. When I tell you that was an unsuccessful hate watch, the look this guy gave when they were staring him down, I'm like, bro, I'm tired of him. I'm tired of him. I'm tired of his fighting style. I probably would have jumped up and probably hit a freaking split if if DDP really caught him in that submission to start the match
Ooh.
or start the fight and just have him just that was it. I was waiting for it. And every time I thought DDP was going to get him in like a good spot, maybe get back up. And when he started throwing hands, he caught him one time. Like finally, like we're going to see some fighting. Nope, just take him down. But you know what? I have to respect how good he is at just getting you on the ground and keeping you there. That damn
Yeah.
crucifix. I was getting
Oh,
claustrophobia thinking about it. Just having a man on top of me. I'm just stuck here. I can't
yeah.
move. It's he's just that good. You
Yeah.
hate him because he's great, unfortunately. Kind of like how I do with Tom Brady. He's that freaking good.
Yeah, man. Hamzat, he put on a clinic for 5 rounds straight. And one of the podcasters I listened to, former fighter actually, Brendan Schaub, he put it really well. He said that Hamzat, he pitched a shutout in that
Yep.
game, and that's not always exciting to see, right? But it's something that you have to appreciate as like a fan of the sport. If you really understand like how hard it is to not only take a guy down repeatedly, but hold him there, you know what I mean? And like still be doing damage, threatening submissions. I know he wasn't super duper aggressive on the ground, but the fact that he was able to chain wrestle and Drake has had no answer for it, like zero answer for it. That is impressive. That is impressive, man. And Hamzat, I think that in that fight, Drake has kind of spent too much time hoping that Hamzat would run out of gas and that he
Hmm.
would be able to finally turn the tides. Because if you watched him when he went back to his corner, Drake is after in between rounds, he would be talking to his coach like, "Oh, that was the best he got, right? That was the best he had, right? Like he should be done after this, right?" And it's gonna be my turn. Like he was smiling. Drakus was in between rounds. He was saying like, "I got this. I'm gonna do this." Like, and which was very cool to see. Like, and it would have made like a very cool Rocky moment if he were to be able to finish that fight, especially in the last round, bro. When he almost got him into that rear naked choke, I jumped up off my couch. I was like, bro, if he finishes this fight right here, I am going to scream right now. And but of course he couldn't do it. I don't think he had enough in the gas tank at that point. But man, Hamzat he's just impressive, dude. I don't think anybody is going to beat him. I don't think anybody's.
Yeah.
He's like a big Khabib, really.
I was gonna ask you real quick, and like before I ask you, I think that smile he was smiling. I think till round three, round four when he went back to his corner, that smile just wasn't there anymore. I think he knew like he just has
Final
it.
answers, yeah.
Who do you think is the next to fight him? Who do you think would maybe even make it? I'm not saying competitive, but somewhat
And
competitive. Like,
see, that's the worst part about this fight is because what Hamzat showed us, the fact that he's able to control a champion on the ground for 25 minutes straight, it kind of lets you know that like there's nobody else in this division who is contesting with that. I mean, you've got Nasruddin Imavov and Kyle Bahalio. They're getting ready to fight in like 3 weeks in September sometime. And that's probably going to be the number one contender fight for who gets to fight Hamzat next. However, neither of those guys have the wrestling acumen, like Hamzat Shemaev or anywhere close in order to defend against, what Hamzat is going to be throwing at him. Another name I've been hearing is RDR,
mhm.
last name De Ritter. I can't remember his first name, but he's another guy who has some really good jiu-jitsu on the ground. But the problem is, man, I think that Hamzat would just take him down and just maul him. He
Yeah,
would just maul him. Like, and then there's also Anthony Fluffy Hernandez, who's another big name who's coming up right now too. Had a good knock or a good performance. I think the week before, a week prior. But if anything, and I'll say this to answer your question, Alex, I think that Hamzat Shemaev should consider moving up to 205, moving up to light heavyweight. I feel like we would get a lot more fun matchups out of him if he's going up against guys who are naturally bigger for that frame. You know what I mean? And Dricus is a big dude. He's a big middleweight, which would surprise me that Hamzat was able to just kind of ragdoll him all fight. But I think at light heavyweight, the playing field would be a little bit more level, right? And he wouldn't be able to ragdoll those guys, excuse me, quite as much, and we'd probably get some more entertaining fights. But outside of that, man, I don't see anybody at middleweight who can mess with this dude. I don't.
yeah, definitely frustrating. Got an early one this week, 6 a.m., 6 a.m. card. I think in China, right?
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yep.
get on up,
Yeah.
get your toast, your eggs, get a coffee, and some UFC will be on.
Yeah. Yeah. So that is that. We're gonna go ahead and leave it there for this episode 327 of the Purple Rain podcast, as we're about an hour and a half in. Like I said, a
Whew,
long show today.
long one.
But preseason is here. The season is about to ramp up soon here, so make sure you stay locked in with us by liking the video and subscribing to our channel as well. I will be posting content every week, damn near daily, D&D, right here at the PRP YouTube channel. So make sure you stay locked in by subscribing. Also, make sure you like the video. Helps us out a ton. If you're watching on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast, shout out to you. If you're watching on Kick still, Twitter still, shout out to you as well. With that being said, listen, my name is Sudden Death. You can follow me on Twitter or Instagram at Sudden Death. You can follow him over here on Twitter at SimplyAS10, on Instagram at SimplyAS10.prod. We love you guys. We appreciate y'all. And with that being said, I'm going to let my guy Alex take us out.
Yeah, thank you for coming through. It's been an hour and a half, a little bit more than an hour 35 with us on the Purple Rain Podcast, episode 327. Love you. Appreciate you. And as always, stay positive, test negative.
Yes, yes, yes. And never, ever, ever forget, even on the rainiest of days, to call God. This is episode 327 of PRP. We're going to catch you guys in the next one. Peace.